afterlife.
If it's the end of the world, I will do better next time. Oh yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know it. If it's the end of the world, I know that I have lived my life to the fullest. Yeah, the fullest. We stood on top of mountains. We've been to space before. We had our dogs.
According to Alexander Hamilton, when a government betrays the people by amassing too much power and becoming tyrannical, the people have no choice but to exercise their original right of self-defense to fight the government. Democracy will not die because those in power tell you it's dead. Democracy will only die temporarily if you let its flame extinguish in your heart, if you fail to pass it on to your children, or if democracy is expunged from the minds of the free thinkers. However, the concept of democracy will never die. We have been programmed to believe that only superheroes in capes or in uniforms have special powers to confront those who do evil in society. Yet, we all have the ability to stop evil. We all can be the superheroes we aspire to be by the actions we take and the help we provide to those in need every day. Realize that we are Americans, not Americans. You must stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone. According to Rosa Parks, stand for something or you will fall for anything. We need to stop being just Republicans and Democrats and start being good Americans. We need less Democrat, less Republican, and more Constitution. You will find my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. See the comments below for my social media links. The problem with politics today is all mankind is corrupted by money and power. I am not saying that all politicians are bad, even some of those that have been in office for many years. What I am saying is the longer a person stays in office, the more likely they will be corrupted by money and power. As a person acquires more money and power, in time, they will do whatever it takes to keep it, no matter the cost. According to James Madison, the truth was that all men having power ought to be distrusted to a certain degree. As the infamous saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. Unfortunately, because a person has the power does not automatically mean they are responsible for using it. Although I believe many politicians may have good intentions at the beginning of their tenure, a combination of high pay, increasing power, more significant influence, greater attention, and the current political environment eventually corrupts their innocence. The original intent of politics was not meant to be a lifelong career path, but an opportunity to serve your community in a limited capacity and then return to your home and original career. Term limits should be the focus of the next election, as no politician in office will willingly give up their power. We the people have a path forward via Article 5 of the Constitution through a convention of the states. It will take 34 states to call the convention and 38 states to ratify any proposed amendments. This option will help place term limits on federal elected officials, limit the federal government's power, and impose fiscal restraints on our out-of-control federal government. It must be a unified effort to truly make a change in America. Those in power will spare no expense to further divide the people through the guise of equality, while their hypocritical legislative measures drive wedges through the population like a knife through butter. We are all equal and we are all Americans. A divided people is a vulnerable people that can be easily manipulated by those in power. Make no mistake, it is the government that should fear the people, not the people that should fear their government. Stay strong, stay vigilant, and be prepared. You can find my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. See social media links in the comments below. Godspeed, America. Historically, dictator-like regimes require two conditions to assume and maintain power: control of the media and control of the weapons. So it should concern each citizen that the media has been under the control of the extreme left for decades, and in recent years taking active measures to suppress the free speech of those on the right. In addition, great strides have taken place to restrict our access to weapons. Mass shootings are a coordinated effort to push policies that will ultimately result in the seizure of our weapons and violate our constitutional Second Amendment rights. According to Japanese Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, after the attack on Pearl Harbor during World War II, stated, "You cannot invade the mainland United States. There would be a rifle behind every blade of grass." That very concept is why no foreign nation will invade the United States. We have more guns in this country than people. However, with the coordinated efforts of the extreme left, is our constitutional democratic republic on the verge of collapse? If so, which dictator plans to assume power in its place? That is today's food for thought. You can find my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. See comments below for my social media links. Godspeed, America. In 1787, when the United States of America was only a few precious years old, Professor Alexander Tytler, a Scottish historian who had thoroughly researched and written about the fall of Athens 2,000 years prior, came to America to observe what had arisen. This was his warning to the newly formed democratic empire of the New World. A democracy cannot exist as a permanent form of government. It can only exist until the voters discover that they can vote themselves largesse from the public treasury. From that moment on, the majority always votes for the candidates promising the most benefits from the public treasury. The result is that a democracy always collapses over loose fiscal policy, always followed by a dictatorship. The average age of the world's greatest civilizations has been 200 years. These nations have progressed through this sequence, from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to complacency, from complacency to apathy, from apathy to dependence, from dependence back again into bondage. First and foremost, we are well beyond the 200-year average democratic reign in the United States. Second, if you look at the above cycle, we have slowly progressed through the exact same cycle since our inception. Third, suppose you look at where we are today. Most of our country is dependent on the government to sustain their way of life, with much of the populace receiving some form of government assistance. Logically, if we follow the same sequence, the last step will be bondage, followed by a dictatorship. Unless drastic measures are taken and taken soon, this cycle will naturally repeat itself in America. You will find my book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. Social media links are posted in the comments below. Godspeed, America. This great country was founded on Christian principles and ideologies to escape a tyrannical government and pave the pathway to freedom for its citizens. However, there are those in power who are desperately trying to take away our freedoms through force, coercion, deception, and indoctrination. As a result, American democracy is on the verge of collapse. This should not come as a surprise, as great civilizations of the past have followed the same predictable sequence. Measures must be taken to stop this sequence if we care for our way of life. Fixing the problem is not a task reserved for the select elite in power. We the people can implement common-sense solutions to save our beloved country. If democracy is lost in America, then it will be lost to the world. According to Ronald Reagan, freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on to them to do the same, or one day we will spend our sunset years telling our children and our children's children what it was once like in the United States, where men were free. Like most of you, I am an everyday American citizen who cares deeply for the continued prosperity of this great democratic nation. I am a blue-collar Christian family man who served both my country and community in uniform for close to 2 decades. I've also been blessed with the most amazing wife and children that are the foundation of my existence and encourage me to strive for excellence in all my endeavors. My life to this point is a culmination of blood, sweat, tears, and stubborn persistence to not be defined by past mistakes. Carpe diem is my daily motto and a reminder to live life to its fullest while appreciating all that I've been blessed with to this point. This book was created by a concerned citizen and gifted to those willing to open their eyes to the truth. Join me on this journey to salvation. This is my magnum opus. Godspeed, America. This book can be found in Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. See comments below for social media links. There is a grassroots movement in America to save our constitutional republic and democratic way of life. If we look at history, some of the greatest civilizations have followed the same predictable cyclical sequence that ultimately led to their demise. America is no different and is naturally following the same sequence. Unfortunately, I fear that we are at the end of our great reign unless drastic actions are taken in the near future. We cannot rely on politicians in the swamp to take these necessary actions. Only we the people can take the necessary steps and support common sense legislation to put our country back on the right track. I request your support to reach as many ears of those who are willing to listen. You will find this book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Apple iTunes. You can reach me on Facebook, Instagram, and Truth Social in the comments below. Godspeed, America.